Today is Saturday, May 5th, 2018. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the Listener Feedback Show for Survivor Ghost Island Week 10.
Revenge of the 5th. Yesterday was May the 4th. Be with you today is Revenge of the 5th.
Well, I don't need any revenge.
You know who does need some revenge?
Who?
Poor Michael. Poor Michael needs some revenge.
Well, what about poor Jenna? Okay.
If she had shown some heart for the game, maybe I would be more in line with the idea of revenge for Jenna.
I see.
But I saw some gameplay, but mostly there was that whole thing about her being there to find romance. Which,
oh, yeah, she said that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think she was more interested in that than she wasn't actually playing the game.
Well, and eventually it worked out for her, seems like.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. But this is our listener feedback show, and we're here to now turn the show over to the other superfans and let them share their insights and predictions about what's coming next, and also to help get us all psyched up and excited for the next episode and the family visit and all that good stuff. You ready to get started?
I am.
Let's kick it off with Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, yeah. Now, that was a pretty good double boot episode. Let me let out a great big woo! Very good episode, guys. Some might say predictable. I honestly don't. I mean, it was sad to see those Malolo guys go, but I did not see it coming, for Jenna or Michael. It wasn't that easy. And honestly, guys, hats off to Dom and Wendell. I mean, everyone knows they're the big target, and somehow, Dom couldn't get voted out this episode, but somehow they avoid getting their names written down, other than by Michael with Wendell, it seems. That's it. It's amazing. Even Laurel got her name written down twice by Kellen there, because Kellen was all panicky from what Michael was telling her, and she almost got blindsided herself. But poor Michael, it's a shame. He tried. I had a feeling Donathan wasn't going to give him that idol. Almost worked. It was working with Kellen, but it didn't work against Dom or Wendell, especially Dom. Dom saw right through Michael, but Kellen did not. We'll see now if that extra vote is going to come back to hurt her now, because are they going to trust her now? The Navidi, especially Dom and Wendell. We'll see. And guys, I feel so bad for Donathan. I mean, I like that he played the idol, and it's a shame, though. I really and truly thought he was going to play it for Jenna. That would have been genius, Donathan, right in front of the jury and all that. You could have gotten rid of Sebastian there, and they would have never saw it coming. It would have been amazing there. What are you going to do? I mean, Jenna tried to lie about it, and Donathan did what was best for him. It was a shame, but I am glad it was Jenna and not Donathan. Well, unlike Ty, at least he played it, but he didn't play it correctly. So there you go. But I'm not saying it's cursed, though. And then Kellen's extra vote almost worked for Lauren, against Lauren. So we'll see with that. And we'll see if anyone finds that fake idol from David that Dominic found. That would be amazing if someone actually believes it like Jay did. But we shall see. A lot has happened, guys. My picks are Dom and Wendell, guys, no question. After that, I don't know. Laurel's got an outside chance. Donathan got the underdog story, but I don't know after that blunder. We'll see. Sebastian got no chance. Angela, I don't think Angela has a chance. What do you guys think, guys, at Chelsea? Arguably, she might be the third best person after Dom and Wendell. What do you guys think? Would the jury vote for Chelsea if she's in the end? We shall see. This has been a great season. Take care. Woo.
Right. Thanks, Pete. What do you think? Would the jury vote for Chelsea?
I think we talked about it a little bit in the recap, but yeah, I think they would.
Yeah, I do too.
She's got a lot of friends. So, yeah, they certainly could.
There's no indication that she's generated lots of ill will amongst anyone. If anything, she's got reason for some ill will for being left out for some votes. And I think Pete's right. I think maybe the ideal scenario for that fake idol that David Wright made is sort of that's what they use to pull the rug out from under Kellen when they decide it's time to pull the trigger. Like if they get wind of Kellen organizing something against Dominic and Wendell, they might leverage that.
Could be.
And that could be her downfall the way it was for Jay.
That would be lovely.
That seems like a satisfying
Not
end.
for her, but
right? Yeah.
That would be an awesome way for a fan to see it be played.
Yep. Good deal. Thanks, Pete. Oh, and Pete, if Donathan had given that to Jenna, I think Donathan would have been gone, right? That's what you were saying when we were talking about it.
Yeah, I think so, because
either he doesn't play it
because he had a
or he
vote
plays
against
it for himself.
him.
Yeah.
Jenna voted for him.
Yeah.
And that could have, so he had a vote and so did Sebastian, but if there's a revote in that scenario, then
it's not going to end up in Donathan's
It's not going to end up well for Donathan. So, I'm glad he didn't play it for Jenna.
Yeah.
Especially after
given how
she's the only one that wrote his name down.
Yeah. And she had called him an idiot in her confessional. So, Good deal. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got an email from Mike in Omaha. I don't have a whole lot to say, but I felt I ought to share my thoughts. Firstly, Jenna and Michael's Ponderosa video was the best of the season. Actually made me laugh and really makes me see how shortchanged we got, as Jenna is funny. Yeah, I don't know if that's intentional funny, but there were some funny things that she said for sure.
I think she probably is
aware,
consciously being funny.
Some of it, yeah. I don't think all of it, though. As for what's going on in the game, all I can say is, ugh. Kellen and Donathan both use up their advantages needlessly, and Dominic hoards even more. I was a fan of Dominic's much earlier on when I thought he was going home. That no longer seems the case. I don't like how we have seen his archetype to death on the show. Clearly CBS keeps casting him because they deliver. It's just I'm not buying what he's selling is all. At this point, I almost can't see how he won't go to the end. Doubly true for Wendell. This season's almost giving me Survivor fatigue, and it's strange because it isn't a bad season, really. Just it keeps continuing to fall flat for me. Might have a lot more to do with the fact that they're using the same beaches. If they're going to stay in Fiji, maybe go to different islands. There are tons of them. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
In JSFL, I had Jenna and Michael going. Then, wouldn't you know, last minute, changed it up. And for some crazy reason, put Jenna as safe and said Chelsea was going. Laurel and Donathan need to get their poop in a group if anything's going to come of them. I suppose in a way it's refreshing to see such stiff tribal alliances, as we've not really seen a lot of that in recent seasons. Good point. Navidi is strong as ever, and now there's just a Malolo too. I think Laurel might be the center cog for this Survivor machine. If she goes to the end with Wendell or Dominic, she loses. She needs to realize this, make nice with Kellen, draw in Chelsea and Donathan, and make a move against Dom and Wendell, or it's lights out. And just ask Scooby-Doo and Shaggy, they'll tell you that ghosts are scarier in the dark. I really hope the end game of this season is exciting, but at the moment it looks like a foregone conclusion. Have a great week, Survivor fans. Thanks for your continued excellence, Joanna and Stacy. You guys are great. Thank you, Mike. You're awesome, too. You feel fatigued by this season like Mike does?
No, not at all.
No, I'm not feeling fatigued. I can say that it would have to be an incredible ending for it to be one of my overall favorite seasons. It's not going to make my top 10 by any means, but thanks to the deceptive, clever editing, it's been a fun ride so far.
Yes, because I like it when I really don't know which way the wind's going to blow.
Even when it seems like I should.
Well, yeah, like we say, last week's vote, yes, we got them both correct, and you would think that we absolutely knew what was going to happen, but I didn't.
Not how, for sure.
It was still my best guess.
Enjoyed the twist for sure in that regard. Yeah, but there's a lot, I'm with Mike, there's a lot falling flat from this season. We'll talk about that some more as we go along. But first up, we got a new caller.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. This is Slappy McGhee. I'm first-time caller, long-time listener, though. I'm from Missoula, Montana, although I do travel around the country. So just calling in to give you my 2 cents about what's going on with Survivor. I wanted to talk specifically about Michael, who's been one of my favorite players. The deception of going from a younger player to an older player like he's pulled off has been fantastic. His game has been fantastic. But something neither one of you mentioned on the most recent podcast was in this final tribal when he got voted out. He made a really bonehead play, and it was really surprising seeing as he had played so well throughout. But he cast his vote for Wendell, and had he cast his vote for Laurel, then she would have gone home and he would not have gone home. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand how someone so smart and has played so well could all of a sudden throw his vote away on Wendell. Nobody else voted for Wendell. His own partner, quote-unquote partner, Laurel, didn't vote for Wendell. She voted for Kellen. I don't know why he was voting for Wendell. I don't know who he thought was voting for Wendell besides him, but there was he wasted his vote. And even if he was just throwing it away, he should have thrown it away to Kellen, perhaps. But that would have been 3-way tie, and he still would have gone home. But it doesn't make sense. If he had tricked them, and if he thought his trick was going to work, then he should have put his vote onto Laurel, hoping that someone was going to vote that way. And even because he didn't know about the double vote, so he would have thought, well, at least if they split up some votes somehow, at least two could go that way. But it didn't. It was surprising to me that he just threw his vote away on Wendell after he played so solidly. And that's my big thought. I also wanted to say that I agree with most of the people that Ghost Island, the idea of Ghost Island, and the execution, rather. The idea is okay, but the execution of Ghost Island is a complete bust. It's non-dramatic. Nothing happens there. It's going to go down as one of those idols that someone chooses to keep in their pocket and not home, because Survivor has pretty much done that with Ghost Island. They have this great idol opportunity, and they haven't played it at all. So Ghost Island, big bust for me. Thanks for all you guys do. I love the podcast. You guys are great to listen to, very informative, and I love all of your callers as well, the listeners who call in. Those listener shows are really exciting to listen to because it gives me a lot of perspective. So thanks so much, and I'll continue to listen. Thanks. Slappy out.
Thanks, Slappy. Man, some great points, and you just made the show that much better. We really appreciate you chiming in like that. Good job. It's a fantastic point, and we definitely did not observe that or mention it when we did the recap.
Yeah, we talked about it later on when it eventually hit us. Yeah,
well, and it didn't actually hit me. Not only did Slappy mention it, and probably I think there might be someone else in the Feedback Here show, but there was a comment on our YouTube recap where someone pointed it out. Cullen Bohannon commented really right away and said, "Oh, geez, Michael really messed up by not voting for Laurel there." And it's an excellent point.
Like, oh
yeah, great point. It's an excellent point, and certainly some other people are on their toes and they caught it. And my first thought was, well, that would have required him to, know how the votes were going to go. And then I thought, no, it actually wouldn't have required him to know. Now, he could have done it just by guessing and throwing it that way. But if they had followed Dominic and Wendell's lead in that tribal council, he could have just as easily gotten up and spoken to Kellen. And by the way, that's vice versa. Kellen could have just as easily, if she's that smitten with how good looking he is and worried about his idol, how better to ensure that he doesn't play it on Kellen and have Kellen go than to have them team up and throw 3 Laurel's way.
Or she could have whispered into Dominic and Wendell and said, "What are y'all talking about?"
But yeah, that's a little different than what I was saying. There were these opportunities for them to join up and make that happen, like Slappy and Cullen are talking about. And from what we were provided, that did not occur. Obviously, we didn't get to see everything, and there was something else going on that got Kellen so upset that we weren't privy to.
Yeah, she did seem to be.
There did seem to be some sense of giving up, both from Kellen and Michael. And Michael, in terms of throwing his vote towards Wendell, but Kellen, too, and saying, well, I hope they're singing the ABCs to each other. That's nah, I cannot hear you, Jeffrey. That's sticking your head in the sand to think that something important's not being said there when Dominic and Wendell are whispering in the middle of Kellen trying to answer Prope's question.
Yeah, I still think it's what I had said in the recap that they may well have been going to hedge their bets and go with Lauren against Kellen. Laurel against Kellen, and changed when Jeff was talking about, well, this is the biggest decision in Survivor, and are you right or are you wrong? And then Dominic just immediately started whispering, and I thought, I think that's what he said. No, Michael doesn't have it. Let's flip back to Michael. Let's get him.
Yep, could have been.
That's in my imagination anyway. So
thanks again, Slappy. That was some great insights. We look forward to more. Next up, we got a call from Shea. Shea wasn't feeling too good, so sometimes the phone's a little muffled and things like that, but I tried to boost those sections up. Hopefully we can make out most of this. Shea actually called during while the show was airing and left us a note saying, you won't believe how they decided to make all this work. I can't wait for you to see it.
Can't wait for you guys to see it.
Yeah, and then so this is her calling back a little bit later.
Hey guys, this is Shay, and just now getting to calling back. I became very quickly under the weather, and have just now listened to you guys and jotted down a few thoughts. First of all, Joanne was right. It wasn't Jenna who said they didn't hug me.
Let's see. It was very nice to see Kellen rattled for a change. I enjoyed that, I think, almost more than anything else.
Though I did not like the ending and Michael going home, the episode as a whole was amazing.
It was smart of Michael to just relax all day like he had an idol. Didn't save him in the end, but it at least made them
question it really hard. I was proud of Jonathan saying no to Michael
about letting him borrow the idol. But just like Joanne, I was a little confused by it. I thought he would say yes.
But I was proud of him for thinking of his own game.
But it confused me totally when
he said he'd play it for Jenna or the Malolo team. It's like, well, why not Michael? Why Jenna? I mean, I thought they were all in it together. And speaking of Jenna,
Jenna's hurry to vote is what caused Jonathan to play the idol for himself. I think that made him feel like something was up and that maybe it was a trick and he should cover his own butt. And I'm not sure if I'm correct, but if he had talked to Jonathan more instead of just falling in line with Navidi, which all of them seem to do, I feel like if she would have really sat down with Jonathan and told him
what they said for real, and she would have voted Seabass with him, and I think he's the one that voted for Sebastian, I'm not sure. And he actually played it for Jenna.
Wouldn't that send the Navidi person home?
I'm getting it in kind of late, and just now hearing your podcast, and still a little bit medicated. Woo-hoo! Oh, I was going to say that I have moved Dom, now that Michael is gone. I've moved Dom into the group of 4 people I wouldn't mind seeing winning the show. So that's now Lauren/Laurel, Jonathan, Wendell, and Dom. I keep forgetting Angela and Chelsea are even there. But Dom ended up not being near as obnoxious as I thought he would be. He really isn't. And I don't know, he has a good sense of what's going on around him. And I think he reads people really well. I think he's dodged several bullets. I think people were coming after him pretty hard in the beginning. And I think he deserves to win as much as anybody else. But hated to see Michael go. Hated it. Felt so bad for Parker immediately. It's like, oh no, poor Parker. Maybe Parker can get in there one day and take care of business and redeem it for the young kids. Can't wait to hear what everybody else has to say. I may listen to the podcast sooner than usual. I usually wait till Monday morning at work, but I might check it out Sunday. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Can't wait till next episode, Family Visit. Wish Michael could have been there. We'll listen to you guys later. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Shay. I hope you're feeling better.
That's right. Michael left the door open for Parker to be the youngest winner.
There you go.
Also, Shay, I was not right. It was Jenna that said nobody hugged me. I thought it was Desi because she was the one turning from side to side, and I thought it was her talking. But when we played it back, Stacy was right. It was Jenna. She said nobody hugged me. So if you run it back, you can clearly see it's her mouth that's moving, not Desi. So yeah. I was wrong about that.
Yep. All right, moving on. Next up, we got an email from Christiana in Boston.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. After watching this week's episode, I am becoming more convinced that Dom is going to win given his luck and airtime, which even though I like Dom, would be a little disappointing to me given another season of such strong women only for a man to be named the sole survivor. The Final Four also looks more and more like it is going to be his alliance of Wendell, Laurel, Donathan, because they seem to have an unbreakable loyalty to each other and will take out anyone in their path, but not so blindly loyal that they are not willing to turn on one another when the time is right. The split for tribes was interesting for the immunity challenge. It seemed like all the people who had game and who I personally liked were on one tribe, and all those coasting by, maybe with the exception of Chelsea, were on another. I am not sure how long I feel about this twist, since the castaways went from having a 1 in 9 chance to a 1 in 4 chance of going home, which in my opinion is too high odds for this point in the game. As for how dreamy everyone thinks Michael is, the poor kid somehow became a pariah in the game. Even Mr. Malolo himself, Donathan, wasn't willing to take a risk to give Michael a chance at saving himself. From what we saw in the Ponderosa videos, both Libby and Jenna were close to Michael in different ways, and both were more than willing to throw him under the bus to save themselves, which didn't work for either one of them in the end. That leads me to an overdue thought about Libby. I missed the opportunity to write in when she was originally voted out, but I disagree with the fact that Libby was just collateral damage in Michael's game. Libby and the other remaining Malolo members had the opportunity to unite and have the majority to vote out a Navidi, since they were going to split votes between Michael and Libby. Everyone opted to take the easy route and vote against him, not knowing he had an idol. Had she made a big move in conjunction with others, they could have set themselves up for success continuing into the merge. Finally, Jenna didn't get a vote-out confessional, and Michael got a hero's exit, which I think is a good metaphor for each of their games. It's okay, though. She's frolicking in the world of being an Instagram model with the guy who was the catalyst of getting her voted out. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy. Until next week. All right, and thank you, Christiana.
Yeah, I think you could tell in some of the extra videos this week that there wasn't a closeness in the Malolos. That it was just, if anything, when they came together, it was more matters of convenience. There wasn't the solidarity that Donathan was hoping for. It just wasn't there the way Davide Strong was.
Just with Donathan, and even he, needed to survive when it got to a certain point.
Yeah, he couldn't make that happen with that group. They weren't that connected. And they just, you could tell from listening to what Jenna and Michael said that there wasn't an awareness of the others' games, and they didn't even talk to each other a whole lot. So,
but I like it that they were there to play their own individual game, and they weren't hung up on, staying Malolo strong, because Malolo had never been strong. So that they were willing to,
like Christiana says, they missed out on some opportunities to take control because of that.
Yeah,
that's what's important.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't. You can choose a tactic like that, but it's not going to work when you've got such an overwhelming force in Navidi Strong.
Well, like you said, had they been closer together and more bonded, then they might have been willing to trust the other members. But I don't think they did. So
you can tell it wasn't there. Yeah, there's several clues in the extra videos this week. Even though most of the content of the extra videos this week nowhere as good as the previous week, those others just seemed like the perfect extras for the episode. This week it's mostly them talking about the twists and all that. But there's some little nuggets in there. Good deal. Thanks again, Christiana. Next up, we got a call from Rashmi.
Hello, my survivor friends. This is Rashmi. This episode and the last one too have been really interesting, and I just don't think they've been predictable, especially the last one with the twist and the two tribes were loads of fun. Now Chelsea, even though she's so skinny and you think, how is she ever going to make it? but she is a real force to reckon with, and she's so great at challenges. I suppose she should be the one who should be going soon. Dominic and Wendell are a good team, and are they the power couple who are going to be broken up soon? I must say both of them are playing a good game, but I think Dominic is a smarter one, but you never know, Wendell may get the better of him. The person to go next, in my opinion, would be Kellen. I just can't stand her, but she also seems to be out of the loop. I think Donathan did misplay his idol, but I think it's better to play it rather than take a chance. Talking about Donathan, I would love to know how he's got such great hair. It looks like he's just shampooed it. Jenna, in one of her interviews, mentioned the fact that, she had found a fake idol and it was carved like a skull, and then Michael told her that it was a fake one because it wasn't one which was played in a previous season of Survivor, and she really describes it in detail, and we never got to see it, and that sounds really interesting. Saying that, I would love to see how the fake idol that Dominic has found would get played. I'm really looking forward to the next episode and want to hear what everybody else has to say. Okay, cheers.
Thanks, Rashmi. Yeah, there's probably no end to the amount of interesting events and stories that happen that if you're not a significant player in the end, they never make it on the air, either in extra videos or the actual episode itself.
If it doesn't move the storyline,
doesn't fit with what they're going.
Yeah,
it doesn't make the cut. Yep. Good deal. Thanks, Rashmi. Okay, let's check in with Parker, see how he's managing his grief here.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and the good thing about this week is that I'm not sick anymore, but
yay!
Gosh, this episode, I mean, with the big twist and everything, it still wasn't that exciting, I felt. And I already knew it was going to be a bad episode because 5 minutes in, Kellen says her second favorite word directly under gut, which is Navidi strong. Not have a good feeling once those words escaped her mouth for the millionth time this season. Dominic finds David's fake idol that Jay played. I love that. I love that moment. That was an awesome moment of that season. It's not a real idol. It wasn't like the stick. It's still a fake idol, but Dominic can now use it to trick someone, which is pretty awesome. That was something interesting to happen in this episode. But other than that, I mean, it kind of saw everything coming. Like, I didn't, but I did. Michael didn't even go out in like a triumphant exit, blindside, idols everywhere, craziness. Just like, well, there he goes. With this huge twist, let's get rid of some goats. Let's get rid of Kellen. Something happened. Come on. I mean, I guess Jenna was a goat, but like, I wanted Navidi's to go. And you know who went to Malolo's, of course. So at first I had Kellen and Jenna as my vote-offs. And then I was like, well, Jenna ain't going anywhere. So I switched it to Chelsea and Kellen. And so it's just so annoying. And then Chelsea wins immunity. I'm probably back on the bottom of the side challenge because I also had Michael save, thinking putting save points on riskier people so that not all my goats are used up by the finale. It's like last time. So it just sucks. I was not feeling this episode. I didn't have the same energy. I don't know. Maybe I'm still a little sick. Who knows? I wanted like Michael should have at least gone out in like final five. But no, he just. Well, see ya, buddy. Man, sucks. Okay, who else loved seeing Donathan slowly realize that Jenna was the one who voted for him? He was just sitting there and he was, oh man, I played the idol wrong. And then he just like, sits there, and then his expression changes to confusion. And he's like, wait, who voted for me? And then he's like, oh my gosh, what? In 2 seconds, you can just see all these expressions in his face. Not hyped with this episode, but next time his loved ones And as long as they don't have that crappy challenge from last season with the loved ones visit, I have hopes. Because the loved ones, those are some highlights. When is the loved ones ever disappointing? Even if you get like this lame challenge to go along with it. Like, all right, well, let's just hope for change. Okay, see you guys next time.
Stick in there, Parker. It'll get better.
You'll get over it. We all do.
And on the plus side, the title's still out there waiting for you.
That's right.
Thanks, Parker. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California. This was another strong episode of Survivor with lots of stuff to talk about. This is turning out to be a really great season, even though the theme from it is still not doing much. So far, it does not seem like the tribe is staying Navidi strong, and I believe it could very well stay that way. But I can also see why they might want to get rid of Kellen during the next tribal. When she panics, it causes loyalty issues, and I can see that pushes her alliance away. I'm kind of surprised that Dominic has yet another idol in his possession. He has become the idol hunter for this season. With that much power, I think he can easily be in the final three and possibly win the game. With this new idol twist, who do you guys think he may try to trick to give the idol power? It was entertaining to see Wendell and Dominic fight it out at the challenge, and I'm kind of glad to see Dominic win out and receive the second necklace. Because there were 2 tribal councils this last episode, there was a lot of strategy happening at camp as to who was voting where, and I really enjoyed watching it, even though the outcome was quite predictable. I know there probably was no way for Jenna to stay at her tribal, but I'm surprised that she did not fight harder to try and stay in the game. I'm sorry to see Michael go, but his time in the game was numbered for quite a while now, and I would like to see him come back and play the game again at some point. Out in Ponderosa, we now have 2 stars in the making, the rapper Chris and the perfume sellers Michael and Jenna. Who knows what other stars might show up. As for the loved ones visit, they could be quite emotional, and I can see that out of all the contestants left, that Donathan might be the most emotional one out of the bunch because of his story at home. I would like to see him spending time with whoever comes out for him. If everything goes the way the show is taking us right now, I predict that the final 3 could be Dominic, Wendell, and possibly Kellen if she is not voted out next week. All right, thanks, Jack. I like going out there on the limb with the predictions. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
All right, ready to go?
Yeah!
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, everyone. This is Drew and...
Jelly and Crocodile.
And
Milo.
And Milo. Okay, let's have a quick recording this morning. I actually don't have too much to say about this. Your recap was great, and I don't know. It is tempting to call this a predictable episode because, I mean, when I was making my picks, I said, well, I could go with Michael and Jenna because the next time on Survivor seemed to indicate that, but I feel like those are kind of the obvious picks. So I'm not going to pick them, but then sometimes I guess you do choose the obvious choice. It's almost like that's why, well, it's not like they could have known, but it's almost like they were like, that's why we're going to do, double tribal council, just to get rid of these and get the game going. But, of course, it's hard to say because, yeah, exactly. Basically what I'm saying is they seem like the obvious picks, and I mean, a lot of people picked Michael to go, so I wouldn't say it was predictable exactly, but I would say that it was kind of the next logical step. Let me look at the roster. I am bummed because I thought that Michael had a lot more to give. I also feel like the 2 tribal councils and how it was a kind of a random mix really took a lot of control out of the players' hands. I guess that's the point too, but then it wasn't really about the game as much, and their gameplay and all of the things they've been building up. It was more about just getting through a tiny tribal council. I don't know. It was just a lot of unusual things, but this is all about the twists. So we're looking at the roster, and I asked the kids who they think is going to win. And Charlie, who did you say?
That guy.
Wendell. Okay. Adelaide, who did you say?
I think her gonna win.
Oh, you think Angela's going to win? First she said Moana, and I said no. She's gone. She's not coming back. Sorry. I'm still sticking with Dominic. I think that he's doing great. But, gosh, looking at this roster, some of these people from earlier in the season seem like 100 years ago. These early outs, you just completely forget about them. So I wasn't a total bust on JSFL. I mean, I had Angela safe, which was fine, but then I had Sebastian, Michael, and Laurel. So it's kind of like in that last tribal council, no matter what happened, I was going to be missing a point on that. So it's kind of frustrating. I just kind of thought Michael was going to win immunity. So anyway, I'm just rambling now. Winner of the week, I think, is the editors for giving us reason to think that the obvious was not going to happen this week, because I was with you. I was thinking, oh, well, maybe something different will happen. That'd be kind of interesting. And so even if it was kind of, in hindsight, they were the obvious choices, it still, like you said, made it exciting along the way. Loser of the week, Kellen, because she just kind of bugs, I was thinking about it because she seems really disliked by a lot of people. I'm not a big fan either, but I'm not sure exactly why. Kind of like I didn't know why a lot of people disliked Dominic toward the beginning of this season, but I think Kellen, there's just that attitude and the constant awareness of the camera, and I don't know, a lot of little things, but a lot of times she's not super offensive, so I'm not sure about that. All right, hey guys, what did we see outside when we looked out the window?
A hot air balloon.
Yeah, was that neat?
Yeah.
Yeah, now that it's getting warmer, we're starting to see some hot air balloons, huh? All right, well, we don't have anything else to say. We have a busy Saturday as usual, but I hope that everyone has a great weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Say bye.
Bye.
Milo, can you say bye?
I don't think he doesn't want to.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to. He's just smiling and happy and toddling around. He is walking earlier than either of these other two did, so heaven help us all. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
I just assumed he was sitting there on his lap. I didn't realize he was toddling around the room. Good deal. Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Drew's crew. Next up, got a call from Kim and Cameron.
Hey, everybody. This is Kim and Cameron from North Carolina. So first of all, the math thing, several people on the show were commenting, oh my gosh, how likely is it that we would get 3 original Navidi and 2 Malolo on both of those tribes? And I think I calculated correctly. A colleague helped me, but actually the probability of the tribes ending up like they did was really twice as likely as the next most probable combination, which was about 48%. So it really made sense that the tribes ended up like that.
Yeah. Wow. So right out the gate, I had some trauma flashbacks when I saw the fake idol of Jay. I really liked Jay. When that happened 3 seasons ago. Yeah, 3 seasons ago, I was mad at that. So it's funny they're bringing that back as a fake idol again. Although Dom really doesn't need it. I think Stacey already mentioned he already has another fake idol. Dominic and Wendell in the challenge really just seemed like peanut gallery to me. I don't think they were being abrasive to each other. I think they were just throwing like, aha, we're so cocky we can talk to each other however we want. I don't know what Jenna's game was this week. I'm glad to see her go. And also, I forgot to mention, I got both vote out points, so that was pretty awesome. Nice. I'm not glad to see Michael go. In fact, if any CBS people are listening, we want Michael to come back to a future season. That's what we want. Not Chris. We want Michael.
Yes.
Jay, too, if you want to bring him back. So Kellen, my mom mentioned when Kellen was just saying, like, do you think every move is the right move? I am sitting here very, very scared. My mom goes, she sounds so dumb. And I was like, geez, that's kind of rude. But honestly, she kind of does. I don't know what her brain's at this point in the game. That's about it for me.
Okay, so last thing I'm going to say is, Stacey, you really cracked me up on the listener feedback show, and all I can really say about my weekend activity is I cannot confirm or deny anything. It's awesome to think I seem so exciting, and my job definitely requires some kind of mad skills, some of which I have and probably some of which I don't. But
I mean, she has a pretty cool job, but she's not doing missions. She's just teaching stat and pre-calc here, so
which is dangerous enough.
Yeah. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Hope everyone else has some good podcast feedback. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Sophie in Texas.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey and all you Survivor fan podcast listeners. Isn't this show the best? Well, thank you. We loved the 2 eliminations and all the chin wagging it caused around camp.
Chin wagging. I like that.
It's 1 a.m. and after a busy May the 4th, be with you, wedding, I'm trying to remember the episode. Sadly, I didn't have time to watch it back, so I have one nagging question for you. How did they choose the 2 different challenge groups? I thought the show divided them up into previous tribes, but I have a strong feeling it was a schoolyard pick. Did they show it, or did the producers decide who was on each team?
They just drew colored rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They drew for it.
Yep.
After hearing that Sebastian and Jenna are a couple since the show ended, I forgot about the Next Time on Survivor segment that had her safe. and had her safe. But I'm so glad she left after betraying Donathan, especially since hearing in the interview that she had foolishly told Seabass, Chelsea, and Angela about Donathan's idol. You see, she was hoping it would make them target him instead of her. But then in Ponderosa, she realized it had made them take the path of least resistance and easily vote her out instead. Goodbye, Jenna. I wish I hadn't had you safe.
I bet.
I had chosen Chelsea to go home, obviously forgetting about her Hulk arm strength. I reasoned or hoped Kellen would be the target, so I thought they'd go after her right-hand man Chelsea. But no. And goodbye, Michael. You tried, but I believe you'll be back one day. You were my winner pick. Sorry you're out, but I'm glad you enjoyed the helicopter reward. I'm sorry for predicting your vote off. I received a point, but felt like a traitor doing so. Next week, good. I can't wait to see the family visit. The challenge better be an actual challenge. And who'll come for Donathan as Mom and Grandma are sick? I'm hoping Kellen and Angela don't get any more advantages on Ghost Island. Dominic, please use your fake idol to give Kellen a false sense of security. You won't even need to show it to her. After all, she didn't ask to see Michael's. Now, good. I think I'm cheering Dominic on to the end, but Prost's winner's pick, Wendell, will probably win. Prost rarely gets that right.
That's true.
It's now 1:50 a.m. and I've fallen asleep 5 times whilst writing this.
Oh my goodness.
Hope it can be deciphered. Take care, everyone, and thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all the time and passion you dedicate to this show. All right, and thank you, Sophie.
Yeah, we appreciate your dedication after a long, hard May the 4th there. Next up, we got a call from Rodney.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans everywhere. This is Rodney from Illinois, leaving my feedback for this week. I am currently stuck in traffic and thought, hey, I will not miss feedback this week because I got nothing else to do. So this episode, I felt like we had a split of the dingbat and the smart people's tribal councils, because everybody that I would consider not a strategic player or not very game intelligent all got stuck in the same tribal, and the idiot savant known as Jenna accidentally figured out that she was the target without knowing that she was the target. And had she not scared Donathan away, she'd be safe and Seabass would have been gone. But that's a no loss either way to me. As far as the smart people's tribal council went, I feel that Kellen is now not looking so hot. She has now, for the second time in a row, gone to tribal council, had no idea going into tribal council what actually should happen or was going to happen until Dominic and Wendell initiated their plan and just went through with it. And again, had Michael decided to just go with what he told Kellen, Laurel would be gone, Michael would be there, and things would be better for both Kellen and Michael. But no, he took a shot at Wendell, which made no sense to me. Maybe he was trying to second step or next step the whole game because he thought that maybe they would play an idol on Laurel, which would mean that votes on Wendell would send Wendell home. I don't know. There was too many extra steps that he tried to fit in there. As far as next week will go, I think Kellen's probably the likely target next week for obvious reasons of all the strategic players left in the game and all the idiots left on the board. Dominic and Wendell and Laurel should just get rid of Kellen, and then the foursome of Dominic, Wendell, Laurel, and Donathan just ride it out to the Final Four, which I hope doesn't happen. I think that would be very anticlimactic to what has been an overall very, very good season. But we'll see what all the other superfans have to say. Take care.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you got stuck in traffic and had time to call. Thanks, Rodney. Next up, we got a call from Jill.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. Hi, Survivor fans. Jill from the Outback here. It's been a really busy few weeks here. I've had my son home from boarding school for school holidays. We've had visitors, and it's been a bit of a busy time on the farm as well. And listen to this. Peace and quiet. Even the husband's away tonight. So I've got all the time that I want to sit and watch Survivor and send you feedback. One of my favourite scenes ever in Survivor was when Jay tried to play the fake immunity idol that David Wright made, and it was really good fun seeing that again tonight and seeing the idol back in play. Although, in that episode, the original episode, you see Jeff throw it into the fire, so I wonder who quickly got that out of the fire so that they could use it again. Or maybe it's not the authentic idol. Wendell and Dominic are a funny pair together. It was almost like they were flirting when they were sitting on the branch at the start of the episode when talking to each other, and their banter was fun when they were the last two in the community challenge there. But Dominic says he's ready to vote Wendell out when it needs to happen, so that feelings might get hurt over that one. I liked how they organised that immunity challenge with the two different teams and two different tribal councils from it. On that second tribal council, they really didn't seem to react when it was 6 votes cast for 5 people. I just wonder if they realised that straight away. But I think because Kellen had scrubbed out Michaela's name, people might have just thought it said Michael, so it might not have stood out as much as if it was for any other person. I was glad that Jonathan played his idol for himself and not for Jenna, especially after she said that he was an idiot. He was really adamant that he wasn't going to lend it to Michael, and then he looked like he was considering playing it for Jenna, but I'm glad he didn't. I hope that he and Laurel stick together. They seem like a good pair. And Dominic and Wendell, I'd love the 4 of them to go to the final, but I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of fireworks happen between now and the end of the show. That'll probably do me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacey. Love the podcast. Even if I don't send in my feedback, I'm always listening. Happy days, everyone. Bye.
All right. So good to hear from you. Glad you had time this week. Thanks, Jill. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the plush moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacey, we need a drinking game for this season. When you hear Navidi Strong, take a swig of your favorite beverage. You won't notice or mind the pagonging after the first 4 or 5 swigs. Oi. Here's my other observations. Kellen's expression could have curdled milk when Dom thanked and hugged Laurel. Yeah, there's definitely a reaction there, wasn't it? Seabass finally unveiled his strategy. Make fruity rice if the tribe finds fresh papaya. Yeah, that's his game. That's a great summary of his gameplay. Wendell and Dom discussing their alliance reminded me Dominic added David Wright's fake idol to his bag of tricks. Dom and Wendell's trash talking at the challenge sounded like 2 buddies playing hoops in the driveway. For the immunity challenge, the producers created a Rube Goldberg plot device to begong Malolos and flesh out any advantages they had. Newsflash, it worked. When Dom accepted his necklace and a bell tolled, Michael knew it tolled for him. Once again, Chelsea's shoulders swallowed her neck during a challenge. When she puts a buff around her neck, it does make it look like they disappear. She looked like Gaylord Buzzard from the Broomhilda comic strip. The Survivor gods must hail from Vegas. How else to explain the random tribe swaps and splits that always favor Naviti? I miss Rhonda's bird IDs. She needs to reverse the curse and bring them back. There you go, Rhonda. Jenna thinks Donathan is an idiot. I think she's the one sitting on the jury. I'm not surprised the Naviti JV used the KISS principle and voted out Jenna. Kellen's facial expressions are straight out of a Benny Hill pantomime sketch. If Tribal Council were held behind a curtain, Seabass would fail the Turing test. Oh, that's good. I think we just got a preview of Sebastian's vote-out face. At Tribal, Kellen was like a gushing teenage girl when she flirted with teenager Michael. Laurel welcomed Kellen to the Malolo side of things. I guess that means Kellen's going home next. I'm actually glad that Kellen forced the tie. It would have felt wrong if 2 votes out of 5 were enough to send Michael home. Jenna looked like she had been sent to the kiddie table when she was sent straight to the jury. No wonder she wanted a hug. Next time, Kellen is really angry. Here's hoping a big hug from a loved one turns her frown upside down. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna Stacey, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thank you, Josh. Nailed it as always. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. So this episode gave us an interesting twist, dividing the tribe up and only allowing each side to vote someone out. I don't think we've ever seen this post-merge, and I don't know how well I like it. I don't really like half the tribe not having a hand in voting someone out after the merge. It was exciting and interesting, but just as I'm thinking about it now, giving my feedback, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't really sit well with me. Maybe I'm just frustrated that Michael was voted out. I think that he had a better chance to stay alive with the whole tribe intact. But I don't think that's it either, though, because I'm not really upset that he was voted out. I really didn't think he was going to make it to the end. Very few of those big threats that play like Michael did, playing multiple idols and just being overall dangerous, very few of those get to the end anyway. So I knew he was biding his time. Anyway, fun to watch overall, but as a player, I would not have liked that twist. Having said that, I really liked the way that Michael kind of used the threat of an idol to knock Kellen back on her heels and make her really kind of sweat it out. And that vote was super interesting. Kellen really held a lot of power in that vote, and she didn't realize it. She was the reason that a tie was forced. And can you imagine what would have happened if Kellen would have forced that tie and she was one of the people that the tribe had to choose from? That would have been amazing. I'm sorry that didn't happen now that I think about it. And I don't understand why we did not see relief on her face when she was safe and when Michael went home. That was ultimately what she wanted, but she looked like, in fact, she did kind of start to cry there at the end in like a despondent way. I don't think the way that she voted necessarily would have alienated her from Dominic and Wendell that she knows of. I mean, we know that they're closely aligned with Laurel, but I don't think she does. So that wouldn't be why she was so, I don't know what to call it, that look on her face at the end there. Anyway, I just didn't understand it. That wasn't the look of somebody who ultimately got what she wanted in Michael being voted out. Maybe the game is just getting to her at this point. I don't know. I think Donathan did the best he could playing his idol. At least he's not going home with it in his pocket. I thought that was a solid play. It didn't necessarily work out how he wanted it to, but I don't think he could ever be accused of like making a dumb idol play. I'm super impressed with Chelsea's ability to win immunities. She may have been getting a purple edit all along, but you can't purple edit an immunity win out, so good on her. And she has a nice smile, too. I'll just say that, considering it took me this long to notice it because the editors aren't showing her on the screen very much. Anyway, that's it for me. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. I can't wait to hear the feedback from everyone. Until next week, bye.
Thanks, Jen. We've seen so much of Chelsea in the extra videos that, and wasn't it her who had the secret scene, the after tribal scene, this week, that I don't even think of her as being invisible, but I
in the show, she's more invisible, but not in the extras.
Right, yeah. So that kind of throws my perception off sometimes from what Jen was talking about.
Because we do see her.
Mm-hmm. They do give her opportunities there.
Not if you don't watch the extra clips.
Yeah, so. Good deal. Thanks, Jen. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here. And first off, I have to say that we are experiencing a bromance of epic proportions.
Yeah.
Dominic looked absolutely smitten by Wendell there at the beginning of the episode. I mean, did you see his eyes and that smile? It was like he was falling in love. So by the time the challenge rolled around and it was down to the two of them, all I could think of was that someone surely must realize that these two have to be broken up. But there's going to be casualties in doing that. I will say that Dominic impressed me with how he handled the challenge because he truly made it look easy. I wonder if green is still Wendell's lucky color, though. Something I learned during this latest episode, though, is that if I'm ever on Survivor and I help someone out by getting the second half of their idol, I shouldn't just politely hand it over. That said, I was so thrilled when Donathan didn't play the idol for Jenna because he would have gone home had he done it. Seriously though, Jenna voted her own self out. I mean, she had a chance to change things up, but decided to stick it to the one person who was willing to work with her. And did anyone else feel that when Jeff told her to go sit on the jury, he essentially told her to be quiet? No parting words for her, huh? And wasn't it odd how the teams ended up? I mean, the first tribal was for lack of a better word, the secondary players, while the second tribal had all the meat. And you know what? Along with Kellen, my USB, I'm liking Dominic less and less. Which brings me to the Michael vote-off. And I'll be honest with you. At first I thought Michael was wasting his breath telling Kellen that he had an idol, because let's face it, everybody knows that if you don't show your idol when you tell someone you have one, well, you just don't have one. But Kellen was so darn paranoid that it actually worked. Again, we see how paranoia can be used against someone, and Kellen is on the downward slope of her storyline, which is why I'm saying that Kellen goes next. Yepper, her goose is cooked. And I guess that's it for me. I loved the episode, and I can't wait to hear what everyone else thought. Take care now. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, it does seem to be pointing towards Kellen's direction for sure.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. What would be like the most exciting, unexpected, exciting turn of events that would lead to a great finale?
Great finale. I don't know.
Let me ask it a different way. Can you have a great finale without both Dominal? Yeah, I'm merging them, huh? Dominic and Wendell there?
Wow.
Can you have a great finale without Dominic and Wendell there?
I'm not sure you can.
Okay.
Not as good. I would be somewhat disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I like Donathan, I like Chelsea, I like Laurel. I don't know if that would be satisfying enough somehow, but I don't know, maybe. But it just feels like those two have dominated the season so much that one of them at least needs to be there.
What if the ladies do it? What if they turn it on and turn the tables and send them both to the jury?
Well, here's what I was thinking earlier. You asked me what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I'll tell you later. But I was thinking if Laurel really doesn't want to take Dominic and Wendell to the end, if she really doesn't want to go with them, then Donathan convincing her to join him and the rest of the Navidi other than Dominic and Wendell.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, Angela, Chelsea, Donathan, Kellen, Laurel, and Sebastian. That's the move. Take them out now,
mm-hmm.
or at least right now, divide 3-3, make them play an idol. Make one of them at least play the idol. You know, Lauren say, Dominic, you're going home. You got to play the idol. They're going after you, blah, blah, blah. And at least get one of the idols out.
They can both play, though.
They could both play and pop somebody else.
Yeah.
But, you know, that would as far as Laurel's concerned, or Donathan too, okay.
That would at
so
least even the
Kellen.
playing field, right?
Yeah, we don't care.
It could very well be one of them.
It still gets a Navidi out.
Mm-hmm.
If they're willing to stay close and manipulate that situation that way.
Mm-hmm.
And get rid of the idols, which would then again even the playing field for the other people. So, but otherwise, I don't know how Laurel thinks she would get them out, because she talked about in one of the extra videos that, you know, going to the end with them. But she had also said in a separate video that she didn't really trust the other people, just Donathan, and she trusts Dominic and Wendell.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't
And she said that she hopes Dominic and Wendell would take each other out.
Yes.
Or that someone else would do the work for her.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That's why we were concerned for her.
Yeah, we don't. I don't. At this
we realize
point,
she
I
has
don't
no
think
plan.
She can win.
Yeah, at that point in the game, she had no plan.
Yeah, I don't
She's not
think she can
actively working towards anything that seems viable.
And here's the thing:
just hoping that someone does it for her.
If they did stay tightly we've not heard Wendell and Dominic. They've talked about turning on each other. So maybe they were planning to take Laurel and Donathan with them,
mm-hmm.
and both of them were planning to get rid of the other one.
Right.
So, but if the two of them went up against each other, I don't know who would win, Wendell or Dominic. And I truly think Donathan even has a chance because people like him, and because of his situation, who could use the money more. So I still think he has a shot.
More reason not to let him get there.
I don't know that Laurel does. I'm not seeing
the path for her to win. Doesn't even though she's our USB, we can't see it right now.
We were trying to figure out who would vote for her, and I was thinking, I don't think she has a chance. So I could be wrong. Things could change.
Her big claim to fame is not getting taken out in the Malolos, finding a way to be safe as a Malolo in the midst of Navidi Strong.
Yeah.
That's her story.
Here's the next exciting move for me is Wendell, Dominic, Donathan, Laurel, and Chelsea take out Kellen.
Yeah.
And then
because it's time for Kellen to go, like so many folks are talking about, huh?
Because they're not highlighting it, but Chelsea has a relationship with Dominic and even Wendell also.
Been strong from the beginning of the game, actually. Yeah.
Yes, they have a relationship. They're just not seemingly focusing on it. But you see enough to know, and especially in some of the extra videos, that they do have a relationship.
But it seemed like the Kellen one was stronger.
Yes, it does appear that way, but maybe not so much
because
now.
They got separated and they were tested by being over on Malolo together. They had that common Malolo experience where Wendell and Dominic didn't.
Because in the next on, and she's expressing this intense anger at a man, I can't help but think it's either Dominic or Wendell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could be a misdirect, but anyway.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that little next time on segment is that she wasn't just talking to Navidi. Laurel was standing right there with him, as you pointed out, right?
I was like, whoa, Laurel's there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. This could be the week that they try to target them or at least get some of those idols out of play.
Like you said, numbers-wise, they need to take advantage of this week to do that. I just don't know if resting Bakeface and the others here, I can't see Sebastian doing anything meaningful in the context of the game. So.
Well, if Laurel set it up to blindside them in a way.
She needs that on her resume for sure.
She would have to say, you guys we'll vote for Kellen or whatever. She's coming after you guys and blah, blah. But since they don't know if it would be a tie or what, hopefully she could manipulate that enough that she could get Kellen out and yet still get one or both of these guys to play an idol. Now, I think that should be her goal at this point, is to start making some kind of move to get, because otherwise they're just going to coast on to the final 5 with their idols in hand, and
then we'll
you're not going to get them out.
Then we'll get a fire-making challenge at 4th, but at Final 4 during the finale, to see who goes on to be the final 3 at the final tribal council.
Yeah, I guess I really, even though I think they should make a big move and go after Dominic and Wendell, I guess probably...
Your preference is for them to still take out Kellen.
Oh, yeah.
How about that? The dislike for Kellen is so much stronger that it wins out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is. But I almost think I'd rather see, at this point, I'm leaning more toward, though I think Dominic's completely deserving, and that he might have even played harder than Wendell, but I don't know, Wendell, I like Wendell too, so.
Wendell wasn't challenged the way Dominic was by Chris.
I don't think so.
So Dominic's had a more intense trial by fire than Wendell has in that regard. So he's certainly weathered more of a storm. I can almost guarantee you that the Dominic that we saw, that overbearing personality in the beginning, is still there, and that he's getting a positive edit, because we've heard so many times about people being edited differently than how they were perceived,
and giving them voiceovers that could go either way,
because he has become so integral to the storyline that they're emphasizing and their progress in the game. I think he's being more favorably edited than he was in the beginning. So, and they've done this in the past where they'll show that kind of a balancing to happen. I doubt that person, because that seemed like just core. I forget who was talking about the archetypes earlier. That's just core to his personality to be a certain way. And I seriously doubt that's gone anywhere.
Well, I do think that if they really want to have much chance of getting Dominic and Wendell out, they really need to make a move now with the 6 left.
Yeah, I say that's another thing that was a little interesting. Like I said, there's some little gems in the extra videos this week. Everybody who's left in the game has started to seriously think about how they're going to be the winner. It's like they're pulling the gun. Even Sebastian goes on and on about how he set himself up to be the winner, which it seems so delusional given the version of Sebastian we've been given
what we've seen,
in the episodes. Yeah.
The only thing I can't figure out is why would Laurel go against them when she knows about the idols and she doesn't trust the other people, and if she went with those 6, they'd vote her off 6th. She would be the first one out.
Well, if you want
to, the other.
If you're being pragmatic and you say, look, I just want to maximize the amount of money I can earn via my stipend while I'm here, then she just rides along. She's essentially a goat. She's a coattail rider on the end, and she will have never have done anything that comes close to comparing to the gameplay that Dominic and Wendell had. She won't have. It'll leave her with an uncompelling story, as opposed to taking the risk. I hate to say it like Probst says, but going big.
Making a big move.
Right? Making a big move to make yourself stand out so that you can at least tell a story. She doesn't really have a narrative for herself other than I survived.
Yeah.
I found a way not to be the primary target, even though I was viewed as a threat.
Well, I still think it's a better move for her to wait till some of the other women, if she could get out Kellen and even Angela.
She does need to get rid of Kellen because Kellen's story is better than Laurel's.
Well, not only that,
but I think
she's closer to the other girls.
She needs to use, and she can use her and then get rid of her, but she needs to leverage her. Yeah.
I don't think Lauren would have the ability Laurel would have the ability to get rid of Kellen if they'd already got rid of Wendell and Dominic. She'd have her powers gone. Mm-hmm. She's depending on Donathan's connection with them. She doesn't really, and she said that herself, she doesn't trust them.
Yeah, and she doesn't have as strong a connection. That's on her, though.
Yeah.
If you don't manage your social game, if you don't give yourself lots of opportunities via your social game, you're asking to be relegated to the corner like this, where you get towards the end, but you don't have any cards to play.
Well, like you said, according to the extra videos and all that, every single person left in the game, all 8 of them, believe that they are playing a great game and are on track
to win.
That they could win.
You got to see it to be it, but some of these seem so unfounded given what we've been provided. Yeah, that it borders on the comical to hear, especially when I was hearing Sebastian. And when I read that, it was an interview with Jenna I was reading, and it mentioned that Sebastian's family owns a coffee farm and a macadamia nut farm in Hawaii.
I told you his mother was still doing his laundry.
You did. Well, I don't know if she is. Maybe if she's on the farm, but you do get that sense off of him.
And Mama is still cooking and cleaning.
I'm ecstatic with the resting baked face. That's what I think of him now after watching all those extra videos with him.
Well, then he's only 22.
He can't be lighting up while he's out there. I just don't think that's an option for him while he's playing Survivor. But it's like that face is just embedded there where he has it.
Well, he seems so much younger than Michael too, even though he was younger than the age he thought Michael was.
Yeah.
But Michael seems to be so much more mature
Definitely
to me
got more
than
going.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
That's why I think he's probably, kind of still at home.
He doesn't.
Mama doing.
Yeah, he hasn't necessarily challenged himself. I don't think he has to go out every day on the fishing boat. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Right, and Jenna's looking forward to moving to Florida to be with him, and then October they're moving to Hawaii, where she'll work on the farm and he'll get a job there in Hawaii on another fishing boat. That's their big plan, to blog and travel from there.
Cool.
That's about all you need to know about them in the context of the game and how much they're motivated. So they both have different resting faces, but they found each other, so good for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another Survivor love.
There you go. All right. Well, let's wrap it up. You inspired us to chat even more about it, and we're looking forward to that family visit this week and seeing what that does. Sometimes that supercharges the castaways, and sometimes it just completely takes the wind out of their sails.
I don't know why I'm more excited about this one than usual for the family visit. I really am excited to see who shows up and you know how that goes down and who gets chosen, kind of some pecking order or what do people think of other people and all of that kind of thing. So I'm excited for the next episode.
We want to say a big thank you to everybody who took the time, whether you're stuck in traffic or you had a super long day at a wedding, all the folks that are so dedicated and passionate about this show and took time to send their thoughts and predictions into the podcast. Thank you so much. We wouldn't have this show without you. You're the stars.
That's right.
Good job. We also want to say a huge thanks to Christy for your subscription donation. We greatly appreciate your continued support, and that's a huge help. Thank you so much, Christy.
Don't forget to make your picks before the deadline on Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. And if you have nothing else, we hope everybody has a good weekend.
There you go. Have a good one.